Danger has always called to humanity, a siren song for the adventurous spirit. But some corners of our world don't just whisper of risk, they scream of peril, holding a grim tally of those who dared to venture too far. Imagine a lake so corrosive it turns creatures to stone, a road so narrow and high that a single miscalculation means a 1,000-foot plunge, or a town built inside the mouth of an active volcano. Today, we journey to the planet's most impossible places, where nature's raw power and human folly collide, and the only question is, how long could you truly last? Our journey begins high in the Himalayas, on Zoji, known as the Valve of Life. This isn't just a road, it's a fragile thread connecting the lush Kashmir Valley with the stark Ladakh Plateau. Unlike the sturdy granite around it, Zoji is made of crumbling shale and mudstone, meaning the path itself is loose gravel on an unstable foundation. Barely wide enough for one truck, the constant battle for right-of-way between military convoys and civilian vehicles is a terrifying dance with death. At over 11,000 feet, oxygen deprivation can cause rock intoxication, blurring vision and stealing a driver's sense of distance from the precipice. For nearly half the year, heavy snowfall seals this vital artery, turning Ladakh into a truly isolated oasis. Even more brutal is the Karakoram Highway, an artificial scar carved through some of the planet's most violent mountains. Known as the Death Road on the roof of the world, its construction claimed over 1,000 lives across 2 decades, a testament to the constant threat of landslides, abysses, and extreme weather. At the Kunjarab Pass, it reaches over 15,000 feet, the highest paved border crossing globally, where thin air chokes engines and pushes human biology to its breaking point. Weekly tremors trigger relentless rockfalls, making road maintenance an endless war against nature. Travelers who ascend too quickly often suffer severe altitude sickness, from agonizing headaches to life-threatening pulmonary edema. Yet, amidst these immense dangers, the landscape offers a surreal beauty. Stark white glaciers, mysterious black basalt, and the mesmerizing turquoise of the Hunza River. In the Italian Alps, Stelvio Pass presents a different kind of terror. Here, the greatest fear isn't the dizzying height, but the terrifying possibility of your brakes failing on its death-defying turns. At over 9,000 feet, the air is so thin that engines strain just to move vehicles up the sheer incline. Drivers are trapped in 48 hairpin spirals, each 180-degree curve, a gamble with the abyss due to the suffocating narrowness. A single lapse in judgment on the 12% gradients can transform a heavy vehicle into an unstoppable ball of fire. 2 centuries after Emperor Franz Joseph I, this path remains an unchanged, ruthless warning to anyone brave enough to challenge it. Bolivia's Yungas Road, officially dubbed the world's most dangerous in 1995, is a path of no return for many. Barely 10 feet wide, it clings precariously at nearly 15,000 feet between sheer mossy cliffs and the lethal, lush green abyss of the Amazon rainforest. A moment of carelessness here means a 3,000-foot freefall, where the dense jungle canopy below will erase all trace of your existence. The constant pressure shifts along this 40-mile route are enough to shatter the focus of even the most seasoned rider. It remains a top destination for mountain bikers seeking an adrenaline rush, but many have paid the ultimate price. Every soul who travels here isn't just seeking a thrill, they're gambling their life against a terrain that hungers for human demise. Do not let the beauty of China's Guoliang tunnel deceive you. This isn't a scenic movie set, but a survival path where a single slip separates life from the abyss. In 1972, after the government refused to build a road, 13 local farmers sold their livestock to buy steel and explosives, carving this tunnel by hand. Lacking standard steel reinforcement, it relies entirely on the unpredictable strength of natural rock. The layered limestone of the Taihang Mountains is prone to weathering, causing frequent rockfalls, especially after heavy rain. Strong valley winds, combined with slippery mossy floors, often cause tourists to lose balance and fall hundreds of feet. If an accident occurs, you are completely isolated, with no emergency services or communication, turning every injury into a potential death sentence. Finally, in Alaska, the James Dalton Highway, a 414-mile industrial road, cuts through the planet's coldest wilderness, where driver safety is constantly at risk. At the Aogashima Pass, over 4,700 feet high, the weather is extremely unpredictable, with snowstorms striking even in mid-July. Most of the road is gravel, so rocks flying from oncoming trucks can instantly shatter windshields or puncture gas tanks. To survive this harsh route, every driver must carry 2 spare tires, double the necessary fuel, and an extreme cold sleeping bag. In minus 40-degree Fahrenheit temperatures, plastic vehicle parts easily crack, and engine oil freezes, turning a car into scrap metal within an hour if unprotected. Yet, after all these challenges, you witness the spectacular transition from green forest to the straw-yellow tundra as autumn arrives. From treacherous roads, we move to the planet's harshest settlements. Oymyakon, Russia, challenges human survival limits in an unforgiving natural environment. The permafrost layer, over 3,200 feet deep, makes basic infrastructure construction incredibly difficult and risky. Residents must constantly store fuel and food supplies to meet daily needs. Metal objects in direct contact with skin cause severe damage due to immediate freezing adhesion. The basin's terrain undergoes complex deformation from continuous freezing and melting. Every house must be built on high supports to prevent internal heat from melting the permafrost below. This land stands as a powerful testament to human perseverance, existing tenaciously amidst an environment lacking every standard convenience. At the opposite extreme lies Death Valley, one of Earth's most extreme places, featuring North America's lowest point at 282 feet below sea level. This deep basin, surrounded by mountain ranges, creates a geological trap that completely isolates life. Salt flats cover the arid desert surface, making survival an incredible challenge. The area hides tens of thousands of abandoned mine shafts filled with toxic substances, creating deadly traps for the unlucky. The scarcity of water resources, combined with intense crustal fault terrain, solidifies its reputation as one of the planet's most dangerous locations. A small mistake during exploration here can quickly become life-threatening. China's Turpan Depression appears as a massive death pit, lying over 500 feet below sea level, pushing humanity's survival limits. This area boasts extreme geological landscapes with vibrant red sandstone mountains encircling an arid, silent basin. Despite being one of the driest regions on Earth, an ancient underground irrigation system, stretching over 3,100 miles, still exists. This sophisticated water diversion maintains green strips of land and orchards amidst the harsh desert. Formed by powerful tectonic faults over millions of years, it's a vivid and haunting geological museum. The terrain's isolation and ruggedness make it almost impossible to conquer, forcing life to adapt through unique methods. Venturing into toxic landscapes, Indonesia's Kawah Ijen is a dangerous volcanic crater holding the world's largest and most toxic acid lake, with an extremely low pH. Sulfur gases escaping from cracks create a rare blue fire phenomenon that glows brightly in the night. Miners face massive risks, manually extracting 90-pound sulfur blocks daily in this highly toxic environment. Despite its mesmerizing turquoise beauty, this lake strongly corrodes every material it touches. The geological environment here is utterly devoid of life, as harsh chemicals blanket the entire crater surface. Conquering this location is a true survival challenge due to its steep terrain and the constant threat of volcanic activity. Brazil's Minas Gerais looks less like Earth, and more like an abandoned alien planet, its landscape shattered beyond biological recovery. Once the world's largest copper mine in the late 18th century, it supplied metal for the entire British Royal Navy fleet. Large-scale mining exposed sulfide minerals to air, reacting with water to create sulfuric acid that has rendered the soil completely acidic. Centuries of acid erosion have made the rock as brittle as a dry cracker. Even a light grip while climbing can cause massive sections to crumble. Do not be deceived by the vibrant colors of the water pools, as they are concentrated acid vats capable of causing severe chemical burns. Furthermore, dense metallic minerals underground interfere with all magnetic fields, creating a dead zone for cellular signals, leaving you completely stranded in an emergency. Lake Natron in Tanzania is a deadly lake capable of turning every creature that falls into its waters into stiff, intact salt statues. The extremely high alkalinity corrodes the skin of any animal in direct contact within a short time. Despite this harsh and toxic environment, it is the most important breeding ground for about 2.5 million lesser flamingos in the world. These flamingos possess thick leg skin and a special salt filtering mechanism, allowing them to exist and move safely on the corrosive surface. The combination of salt-loving bacteria and volcanic minerals creates a brilliant red color, making the landscape strange and surreal. Walking on the fragile salt crust is extremely dangerous, as humans can become trapped or injured by the lake's chemical properties. Wittenoom, a former mining town in Western Australia's Pilbara region, became a severely contaminated and hazardous area. Industrial mining left approximately 3 million tons of asbestos waste scattered across the region, turning the landscape into an extremely dangerous site. Microscopic asbestos fibers suspended in the air can cause lung cancer and other serious terminal illnesses. Authorities removed the town name from official maps and cut off all utility services to prevent people from entering. The ruined buildings and empty foundations stand as remnants of a community that existed within this toxic environment. Wittenoom is now a permanently banned zone, a harsh warning about the devastating consequences of prioritizing economic gain over human life. Deep within Russia's Arctic Circle lies Norilsk, one of the world's most polluted industrial centers due to massive precious metal mining. The smelting plant releases over 2 million tons of sulfur dioxide annually, severely impacting the living environment. The city has no road connection to the outside world, relying entirely on air or water transport. Residents face numerous health risks from the toxic working environment, leading to a decline in average life expectancy. A system of tunnels and corridors connects buildings, allowing residents to move more conveniently among rigid, boxy concrete structures. Norilsk is clear evidence of the enormous environmental trade-offs required to maintain the global metal production chain. Now, let's explore subterranean and coastal wonders with hidden dangers. Would you dare enter Sistema Actun? This vast underground maze of darkness, hidden deep beneath the earth, preserves ancient secrets dating back to the Ice Age. It is not only the longest underwater cave system on the planet but also a gateway into the distant past, where traces of ancient human civilizations have been discovered. Beneath water so clear that visibility extends for hundreds of feet, enormous stalactites and stalagmites form a spectacular stone landscape. Every flooded passage challenges human confidence, with limited sunlight filtering through narrow openings. The remarkable meeting of fresh and salt water creates visual distortions known as haloclines, producing unusual optical effects that make movement disorienting. Vietnam's Hang Ng Cave is a massive natural limestone cave deep within a protected heritage landscape in Quang Binh, preserving untouched geological formations. About a mile long, its interior is so vast it can contain a tropical forest and enormous stalactite systems formed over millions of years. Its uniqueness comes from natural sinkholes that allow sunlight to penetrate directly onto an underground river, creating an otherworldly scene shaped by water and stone. Wide sandy areas inside provide rare resting zones, offering calm within a gigantic limestone structure surrounded by darkness. Thousands of swiftlets create a constant natural soundscape, filling this ancient underground world with movement and life. Doong Cave is proudly recognized as the largest natural cave on Earth, containing enormous chambers large enough to shelter an entire tropical rainforest deep beneath the ground. With ceilings rising over 650 feet high, it stands as one of the greatest examples of geological formation shaped over millions of years within limestone mountains. Massive sinkholes in the cave roof allow sunlight to enter, supporting a thriving ancient forest ecosystem that grows unexpectedly within the darkness. An underground river flowing through the cave creates broad sandy areas and enhances the untouched atmosphere. Unusually large cave pearls and towering stalagmites resembling ancient stone structures reveal the slow but powerful effects of erosion and mineral deposition over time. Every passage opens into a separate environment where distinct climate conditions and rich vegetation create the feeling of an isolated underground world. Standing within Doong Cave, people often realize the immense scale of nature and gain a deeper appreciation for one of the planet's most extraordinary natural wonders. Would you risk your life for a photo by standing on the edge of Drangania, the greatest sea arch of the North Atlantic, and the deadliest check-in spot in the far north? To capture that divine view through the arch, you must stand on a slippery basalt cliff edge where wind gusts over 60 miles per hour can easily throw you into the 984-foot deep abyss. This wonder consists of two main pillars, the large story Dranger and the small Litli Dranger, formed from ancient basalt lava eroded by waves for millions of years. The color palette here is strikingly harsh and lonely, mixing pitch-black basalt, white sea foam, and emerald green moss. There are no man-made structures in sight, making this one of the few places on Earth where you can see the planet as it appeared in its early ages. Because the area is privately owned, you must pay a fee and be accompanied by a local guide to ensure safety and preserve the environment. Namibia's Skeleton Coast is the most remote and mysterious land on the planet, where the boundary between arid desert and fierce ocean completely fades away. This area possesses the world's largest shipwreck graveyard, with hundreds of rusted ship hulls lying on dunes stretching along the coast. The giant sand dunes move constantly, making it impossible for humans to determine direction while swallowing shipwrecks deep into the desert heart. Although this is an extremely harsh land, wild animals like elephants and lions still adapt by traveling long distances on the sand. Many whale and seal skeletons lie scattered on the beach, creating an eerie appearance and affirming nature's dominance over humans. Danakil is a strange land with brilliant, colorful landscapes formed from the harshest inorganic minerals on the planet. This place possesses thousands of bizarre salt structures, creating a constantly changing surface that challenges all human survival capabilities. Boiling hot springs carry extremely high acid concentrations, making the surrounding environment a deadly area for almost all living organisms. With an altitude of -400 feet below sea level, this area traps internal heat sources, creating environmental conditions that accurately simulate the surface of Mars. Every attempt to settle here has ended in failure, as human structures are quickly eroded by toxic chemicals. Although it possesses a magical and attractive beauty, this land remains a clear testament to the ferocity of nature that no one can conquer. Finally, we explore humanity's risky footprints, places where people live or have lived in defiance of extreme conditions. Aogashima is the only island in the world where humans dare to build villages inside the mouth of an active volcano. This is a volcano within a volcano structure, as inside the giant basin there is a secondary volcanic mass named Maruyama that is 1,300 feet high. With lush green cliffs surrounding the deep crater, this island holds a spectacular scene reminiscent of Jurassic Park. Residents use geothermal vents to steam food. Placing eggs or vegetables in wooden boxes over the steam makes a meal ready in minutes. The eruption in 1785 was a painful scar, as residents living in the basin are essentially inside a funnel that would collect ash and lava if the volcano reactivated. Reaching the island is a gamble, because if high waves or bad weather occur, the island becomes completely cut off from the outside world for weeks at a time. Mount Vesuvius has long been ranked by scientists as one of the most frightening volcanoes on the planet due to the direct threat it poses to local residents. Possessing a height of about 4,200 feet above sea level, this mountain creates an incredibly massive and extremely rare layered geological structure. Intense eruptions in the past have turned this place into the gold standard for researchers to name powerful explosions worldwide. When the volcano erupts, columns of ash can reach as high as 11 miles into the atmosphere, completely covering sunlight over a vast area. Although the exterior looks peaceful, enormous pressure is constantly building underneath, making the surrounding area a strictly defined high-risk zone. Planning an evacuation for millions of people living right on the steep slopes is an impossible logistical challenge for every authority. The existence of this mountain reminds humanity of the fragile boundary between lush nature and the disaster that could happen at any time. Can you believe that the Liziba monorail station in Changqing, China, is an architectural marvel that barrels straight through a 19-story apartment complex, defying usual safety standards? Instead of running underground or on overhead tracks, the monorail trains pierce through the building from the 6th to the 8th floors, effectively making private apartments part of the transit system. To keep residents from going insane with noise, engineers installed specialized damping systems that neutralize vibrations, ensuring those living in the building barely feel a tremor as heavy trains pass through. Yet, the safety of this structure is a double-edged sword, as the building and rail system are interdependent, forcing them to harmonize perfectly against different vibration frequencies in the event of an earthquake. Even more alarming is how the daily swarm of tourists overloads Chongqing's narrow walkways, creating a constant risk of stampedes and traffic accidents as visitors become obsessed with getting the perfect shot, ignoring fast-moving traffic beside them. Monemvasia, Greece, is not just a town but a giant rock left lonely in the sea, often called the Gibraltar of the East because it was impossible to conquer. Once you block the only narrow bridge leading in, you understand why it's called a single entrance. It is basically a natural cage that traps people within sheer cliffs. The winding alleys here are like death traps, where people in the past used boiling oil and heavy stones to easily deal with anyone approaching. Walking on slopes that reach 50 degrees is heart-pounding, as one wrong step means falling straight into the abyss below. The lower and upper town levels sit at such different heights that they create towering stone walls, blocking every view and making the space feel suffocating. Those houses carved into the mountain may look unique, but inside they are just dark, damp caves filled with a musty, unpleasant smell. Isola di Loreto, at Lake Iseo, Italy, appears like a solitary fortress with a grand neo-Gothic castle rising on a bare rocky island in deep waters. The island area is only 1 hectare, smaller than a small football stadium, where all structures are built directly on a solid rock foundation. The lake surrounding the island is several hundred meters deep, creating a strong contrast between the ornate castle and the dark waters below. The island was once a retreat for nuns in the 15th century, later changing ownership several times among powerful Italian business figures. The castle structure is built on a steep rocky outcrop where stability depends entirely on the long-term strength and integrity of the underlying stone formation. Strict ownership control keeps the island highly restricted, making it an isolated and mysterious place with no public tourism access allowed. The ancient fortifications at Spinalonga, off the coast of Greece, once concealed a tragic history of harsh human isolation and forced separation policies. The Venetians constructed massive defensive walls around the island, reaching approximately 7 feet thick, forming an impenetrable structure during Ottoman siege periods. The island spans only about 22 acres and once housed hundreds of leprosy patients living in complete social isolation from mainland society. The limestone walls and abandoned houses create a haunting atmosphere where traces of suffering remain deeply embedded within the decaying island environment. Seawater erosion over centuries has weakened the stone foundations, gradually compromising the structure and increasing the risk of eventual collapse and significant instability. Total isolation from surrounding communities turned the island into a powerful symbol of extreme human suffering, where life and death blur together constantly. From the most dangerous roads to the most toxic landscapes, and from extreme climates to human settlements defying nature, our planet is full of places that push the boundaries of survival. These locations serve as powerful reminders of Earth's raw power and the incredible resilience of life, including our own. Which of these impossible places would you dare to visit? Or perhaps, which would you avoid at all costs?